Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We are not going to waste too much time before we jump right into Game 3 of the Nuggets and Suns. The Nuggets are sinking fast. Until then, still, if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings and NBA promos available for the playoffs. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe to the page. Jump in the comments. Let us know who you guys are betting on in this Game 3. Nate, let's jump into it. Is there any reason for me to think the Nuggets can come back in this series?
Sure, home court advantage, right? But yeah, this has a little bit of the feel of that Dirk Nowitzki getting the MVP award and then promptly losing to the 8th-seeded Warriors a couple decades ago. Jokic was the regular season MVP in a season unlike any other because he played every game, but he is not dominating the series at all. He, in the second straight game, played to a draw with DeAndre Ayton, had nothing but compliments for the young man. And now the Suns are just plus 1.5 as we transition to Denver. Plus 105 on the money line. I don't see any reason not to keep riding them the way we rode the Brooklyn Nets when they were surprising underdogs here in Game 3.
Similar feel.
Total of 223.5. And just on that point right now on DraftKings, backing a Nets versus Suns final is plus 325 odds. I would feel really good about that, the way these teams have looked. We'll focus on the Suns right now. Obviously, they are on fire over their last 5 games. Since falling into that 2-1 hole against the Lakers, they have been unstoppable on both ends of the floor. Chris Paul is healthy now. He's completely controlling the game. And their depth is sort of overlooked because it's like, oh, well, none of them have any playoff experience. Well, that hasn't seemed to matter. For Chris Paul, Monty Williams, Jay Crowder, taking the lead in terms of getting these guys ready for what a playoff experience is like. I expect that to carry over in their first, their first test at Denver at altitude.
Yep. And
the first thing I'm looking at here is points. Phoenix on the road after the All-Star break didn't play any defense. They were 29th in defensive rating, and 13 of their last 16 games overall went over. Denver went over in 25 of 39 home games this year. And prior to that Game 2, which just went under, as we predicted, Denver had gone over in 9 of their last 10 playoff games. That's pretty much the Jokic line, which we've talked about over and over here, is just that the Nuggets cannot stop they could not stop the Blazers, but the Suns can stop them. That's why you have to favor the Suns, but you also expect plenty of points from both sides. If looking to back one side because you don't necessarily trust that the Nuggets can find that offense against what's been the best defense since that 2-1 hole against the Lakers,
yep.
I would just take the Suns over 111.5. And I wouldn't really want to take them at plus 1.5. I would look for an alternate line such as minus 3.5 plus 150. I think if they win, it's not necessarily going to be on a buzzer beater. It's going to be them proving that they are the better, deeper team.
Yeah, I've felt good about this series, and I've bet this very, I think, pragmatically and strategically. And the two main, sort of type of lines and bets that I've targeted is that Suns team over. I think you can expect points from them no matter what. After Game 1, I got pretty scared that what we were seeing DeAndre Ayton do to Nikola Jokic might be real. And in Game 2, it was, it's still a small sample size of 2 games, but it seems pretty real as he's hawking him all over the floor, has a 90 individual defensive rating in 2 games. That's insane, right? Especially against the MVP. And then the other item to eye there is Suns' third quarter. Since they were down 2-1, as we mentioned, they've dominated the third quarter, and specifically in this series, they've outscored the Nuggets 65-45 in these first 2 games. It's honestly, it's a little bit to be expected, and I think it's something that you can continue to target as Chris Paul does seem to do different things in the third and fourth quarter. He looks for his shot a bunch more in the third quarter, has most of his field goal attempts in this series in the third quarter specifically. And then the fourth quarter, it's closing time and we know what he can do. So I'm going to continue to eye some of those things. I do think, this is a game where I think Joker will come out a little bit stronger. And then, the role players, as we continue to see in these playoffs, as we expect, they play better at home. Michael Porter Jr., that was the case throughout the season as well. 3 more points per game at home than on the road. He is nursing that back. That we'll see if he's able to really be that secondary scorer. I was kind of hoping that he would be that in game 2. He was clearly hurt. Will Barton is still coming back, and it's going to need to be that second scorer because it's not Aaron Gordon. I'll tell you that right now. And the Suns are trying to make it so as they're leaving him open with the most uncontested shots of any of the starters for the Nuggets. Does Aaron Gordon have? So I think once again things to feel safe about here. I'm definitely going to feel good about Phoenix's total at 111. I think, you kind of mentioned maybe something with the Nuggets in the first half. I do think they'll come out strong and maybe eye their first half total there. And then if that happens, I love the trend of that third quarter going the Suns' way if it's close at halftime at that point.
Sounds eerily similar to what we talked about with the Nets, right? And that's championship basketball. If you can take control in the third and pull away, we'll see if both teams can do it on the road. Because the Suns so far have been riding the momentum of that crowd. I know they shut down the Lakers, who had a lot of other issues, but the Nuggets are also just completely injury plagued.
Yeah.
Looking at their win over Portland is a bit misleading because of the way the Blazers self-destructed, did not coach, and now have their stars all trying to jump ship. But in any case, Denver, number 4 in offensive rating at home this season. So I like, and they average 60 points per game in that first half. I do like these teams to get over 109.5 combined in the first half.
Cool.
I trust that a little bit more than going over for the game. As we've talked about in the playoffs, it slows down. It gets lower scoring down the stretch. So that would be my preferred bet, along with Phoenix to get over their points.
Don't think I didn't catch that shot at Terry Stotts that you just took. I'm a Terry Stotts guy. Fucking yellow.
Stotts fired.
No, but Stotts fired. Boo. At any rate, that's a good idea. I think the first half, as we said, that'll continue to be a trend. The Nets have sort of blown the doors off of any of these trends. They just win from start to finish now. That's for another video. We'll see how that goes. And that is all the time that we have for today. You guys, make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. We will be back as these NBA playoffs continue to roll on. I'm having a really good time with these, dude. These are some really, really good games. They are not letting down. But until we are back, happy betting.